what you see. Be like a battery. I'm staying charged on my feet. I'm like a factory. Dropping lines like an assembly.
Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to ZukaTube. Today we're going to be reviewing episode 8 of Superman and Lois. This episode is called Holding the Wrench. I'm going to play a little quick promo they had. They're only about 30 seconds on this show. The promo is very short because they do it weekly. We're going to go into a little summary of what's going on. I'm going to talk in depth for, about half of the episode or so. I'm going to give you my review, and then we're going to dive into some spoilers. This show has been amazing. Once again, this one does not disappoint. Let's get right into this here.
Turn on humanity.
Our worlds are different. Our Superman would never turn on us. I was one
Never.
second away
Look at that
from being dead.
action.
What happened
Jonathan,
on my
once again,
world is already
MVP.
happening on this one.
Bam. So, really quick, only a couple flashes, but there's really key stuff that's going on in that little promo they got there. And I really wish they did longer trailers for these, in a sense, because I feel like it would draw more people in when you go to, flick through the shows or whatever on TV. Not that everybody just watches regular TV anymore, so I guess that may be the reason why they do it. But let's get right into the basic story of what's happening. Now, they have a basic summary for the episode, and it's a little bit vague, but it's Clark encourages Lois to reach out for help after noticing her reaching a breaking point. Jonathan finds himself in a dangerous situation, and Kyle encourages Sarah to audition for the music review at school, right? Way more involved than that, and that kind of steers you off the beaten path a little bit of the main drive of this episode. I mean, the main drive of this episode, aside from the big reveal from the previous episode that Lex Luthor from the multiverse, Other Earth or whatever, is actually John Henry Lewis, a.k.a. Steel, which I am super excited about. They even showed the hammer and everything, and I mean, like, you can see he obviously was like an engineer and stuff in the comics and everything, and he was a regular guy. So hopefully we will get to see him eventually don the full metal outfit. And I love to just throw the Shaq in there because that's fucking hilarious. If anybody ever remembers that movie, Steel, disappointment, but really funny to watch at this point. Now, aside from that, this is a really, still family-driven. They do such a good job with the performances of these characters and the emotion behind these characters. And like I had said playing that little promo, Jonathan is the MVP, man. I mean, his performance in this is fantastic. Lois, although I do not like the pick for Lois, she does a fantastic job acting-wise. She does really, really well in this episode. Really great. And this is the halfway point of the season right now. So it's really doing amazingly consistent throughout the whole season, and just very good for sure. Now, in this episode, right, Lois is meeting in the beginning with the wife of a guy who grew up with her father, and they don't really tell you exactly what's happening with that, but then you see little flashes of it throughout the episode, and basically, it gets pretty deep into what happens after the episode is done. Like, after everything plays through, it makes more sense on why that whole scenario is happening, right? I'll dive into that a little bit later. But after that, right, it shows the family dealing with the fallout from the last episode. Fixing the truck on the farm. Jonathan's just kind of sitting there pretty much helpless in the situation. They're all really disheveled. They're, having a lot of really down-to-earth discussions throughout this within the family, for sure, right? Then after that, Lois decides to bring Jonathan along to search that camper of Steel. I'm going to call him Steel. I'm not going to call him John Henry Irons. I'm not going to call him Lex Luthor. He's Steel. From now on, you're going to deal with it. So Lois brings Jonathan to search this camper, and she has authorization because on the other world, that's his wife. So she's very confused about that. She sees a lot of things that are very shocking, and you understand more about it towards the end of the episode. But their current Earth Steel is dead. Not Steel, but like the John Henry Irons of the universe they're in is dead. So they're talking at the DOD after he's captured, and Superman is basically throwing that out there, being like, what's your deal? well, what happened? What's going on? And he basically is like, dude, I'm going to be the guy that kills you. Straight up. Like, it's a little typical, but once again, like the little flashbacks they show of evil Superman and him and that whole situation is really fantastic stuff. They cue to the flashback, right? And it's Superman attacking Steel while he's in his ship and him trying to escape in what looks like he's going towards the antimatter wave from the Crisis events. And that's really cool. It'll be an easy way for them to kind of tie in how this anomaly kind of happened. And just, I love all these shots between, this other world, Steel and Superman. Really great stuff. You cue after back to regular time, and it goes to some drama stirring up between Lana and her family over her husband's job and, Sarah wanting to go back into theater and all that stuff. And there's some great family dynamics that show throughout the episode with the characters. And there's a lot of really interesting, divisive situations between that family that are going to play out throughout this season, you can tell for sure, especially with Morgan Edge and, with Sarah and Lana's relationship with the Kent family and all that kind of fun stuff, right? And you see Jonathan, he kind of sneaks to the camper after this by himself, and he sees the news on the other world of, basically his father killing his mother, and there's a lot of shocking things, and he finds some guns, and it triggers an alarm, and basically is going to kill him in whatever typical supervillain fashion. You get like 20 seconds or whatever. And Lois tries to get him out and hits the alarm for Superman, and Superman gets him out last second, and they have a big talk with Jonathan about the whole situation. Lois is super upset and Jonathan feels so vulnerable about everything because he's so close to death in these things. He can't do anything. He can't help. He can't even investigate a situation or even be curious to what's happening. He feels totally helpless and feels like they don't trust him anymore, And it's just really great. And it goes back after that to Lois meeting with the woman in the beginning who's a counselor, and she's discussing her like family issues and trauma that she apparently had from a miscarriage. And that all kind of clicks in this whole situation because the daughter of her and Steel is named Natalie, and she sees that on this other world, the daughter Natalie that she was going to potentially have did totally come to fruition in this world. And it's just a very upsetting situation. She does a great performance. I mean, her kind of breakdown in this counseling session is just really good stuff. I mean, it's a little too emotional for my taste, but it's just really well done, and everything is just, the story is really unfolding super good. Top-notch shit right here. And Jordan comes in clutch right now because, they don't give much showtime to Jordan yet. And Jordan comes in clutch, and he kind of provides backup for Sarah because her father is kind of falling into a downward spiral over this situation with Morgan Edge and the family and all that, and starts drinking more. And we thought that, obviously that was going to potentially start to play out different depending on how that situation would go. And it did. It went kind of dark once things didn't play out the way it were originally in the beginning, and the positive notes that were kind of looking like they were going to go towards, obviously, Kyle and Lana in their general careers and stuff like that. So that's really interesting, and I don't want to say too much more without going into spoilers and stuff for the episode on a major level. So we're going to get into that. I'm going to give you my rating. I'm going to say this is a 9 out of 10. Like, these guys are crushing this show. Really, really just fantastic all the way through. But let's get into these damn spoilers so I can talk a little bit about some of the extra good stuff from this episode. Spoilers. Super spoiled. Ooh. All right. So it cues right after this to Lois's dad going in to interrogate Steel, and Steel persists that he needs to be killed. Superman, that is, right? And, one of the officers you see is enhanced by the X-Kryptonite, which is definitely going to lead up to some serious stuff because he's seeing this Kryptonian-esque situation that destroyed his other world happening right now. So no matter what direction things going with Superman, he's not trusting the situation no matter what. I get it, especially when his wife died and all that kind of stuff. Because normally you would think, well, it's another world. It could have a different ending for sure. It's already slightly different, to a degree. But, no matter what, he sees the writing on the wall and he's too afraid to take the risk. Now, Steel gets brought by that officer into the room for Operation 7734, the Hell program or whatever that was going on in his world with General Lang and everything. And Superman comes in, and the officer ends up having to get in a little tussle with Superman. And John ends up coming in. Well, Steel. I'm going to stop saying John. I got to remember. Stop saying John. He is Steel now. Legit. Okay, so Steel ends up killing the officer with a kryptonite spear and then immediately goes for Superman in this kind of like just dark, spiteful kind of rage. And all the guys show up and kind of draw guns on him because this all happens in the facility. So people aren't stupid. They're aware. So within just a minute or two, everybody swarmed the place. And, basically Lois comes in and talks him down from the whole thing and, and brings some of those connections that they have on that other world to him and helps him talk through things similar to how she had to do in the counseling to kind of just talk him down and get that to cool out for a minute. And then it goes into a thing where, General Lane is showing Superman that they've pretty much been investigating all these things. They're looking into all that. They now, obviously, you see they have X-Kryptonite enhanced soldiers, which could go in a ton of different directions and can be a real problem, obviously, for Superman in the coming episodes. And Steel and Superman, they kind of, after they leave this place and everything's fizzled out a little bit, they kind of have a standing truce going on, because at this point, Steel is starting to think that, he may still have to approach this differently to succeed, and then potentially at the same time that, maybe things are different, and this is going to be a different outcome on this world. And like in the comics, this could be maybe their way of warping it into his switch and starting to trust Superman. Like, and becoming the character Steel to the fullest and embracing the hope aspects and general, thing that Superman believes in, and standing with him rather than against him. So that'll be really neat. And you kind of see him, go through this big talk with him and then with Lois and everything. And he gets in his camper van and he just drives off. And that really leaves a couple different avenues open, obviously, for the next episode. And man, just what a great halfway mark for this season. Again, just spectacular. Jordan, Lois, they did amazing in this episode. The acting was just like very, very well done. Not only that, but just the emotional connection and the situations going on in this family are just really well done. It's not cheesy. It doesn't seem played out. It doesn't seem too cliche. I mean, it's good stuff. Everything overall, and the effects, the action, the everything. I'm going to show you a little scene here or two, especially of the ending scene here. Check this out. Well, not the ending scene, but like the end before Steel apparently goes into this world kind of deal.
At least that's what happened to the John Irons of this earth. How did you get here?
Again, shout out to Mr. Brain Junkie with getting these clips out there. Look at that. He's got some high-tech stuff, man, but once again, in the comics, it makes more sense because he is just a very, very intelligent engineer. He does some pretty amazing things, obviously, with him making his suit. But when you see that glow, look, even Superman's like, what are you doing? And this could be the antimatter wave and that whole scenario playing out.
All you need to know
But here you go, listen.
is I'm the one who's going to end you.
See? He's still so vengeful about the whole situation. And, man, this is just great stuff. I recommend everybody watch this show. And don't miss this episode if you are already watching this show. This is just good stuff. Again, 9 out of 10. Man, can't wait till next week. ZukaTube out.
Dropping lines like an assembly. I'm staying on point, it's my strategy. Feel like they tracking me. Yo, let me get on one. Nah, go get your tracks up. Homie, can I steal some? Homie, you can't stack up. My brother, can you shout me? You're barking up the wrong tree. My dog, why do you doubt me? Cause you can't do shit without me.
Real like the radio and never play it, but that's cool. The enemy's supposed to hate it.